this time, we'll call to order the regular City Council meeting for April 25th, 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Deaton, let the roll call show all council members are present. Lieutenant Baki's here for Chief Sovic this evening. And we'll move on to the approval of City Council minutes March 28th, 2022. Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
I'll move the minutes for March 28th.
Councilmember Kibble.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Approval of City Council minutes from April 6, 2022. Councilmember Kennedy.
I'll move the minutes from the budget workshop for April 6, 2022.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the bills this evening. Councilmember Kibble.
I'll move the bills. I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Approval of tonight's agenda. Councilmember Kennedy.
I'll move the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Tonight's consent agenda includes Planning Commission appointment, Corey Frost, DDA Board appointment, Tracy Smith, May 6th, 2022, Ladies Night Out, and Arbor Day Foundation Tree City USA proclamation. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you. I move the consent agenda as presented by the mayor.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Oh, yeah, sorry, Councilmember Kibble.
I'd like to ask, are any of them in the audience?
Oh, of our appointments?
Appointees? No.
Okay, no, but thank you. That was a nice catch. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. At this time, we'll open the floor for public comment. Please remember to state your name and address, and remember that we have a 2-minute time limit.
Hi, Larry Ledbetter, 11343 Clovis Point Drive. I'm here to thank the citizens and especially the council members that participated in the 18th annual creek cleanup. Councilman Hanson, Kennedy, and Keibel are all there. And we had a total of 30 people show up, and we got, I would say, roughly three quarters of that 20-yard roll-off box full of trash. A lot of stuff came out of the areas. So we've expanded. We've moved the areas out now beyond the city limits to gain some more places to clean up, because what we're seeing over these years is it's improving and a lot less things are showing up. So we're really happy with the effects. And we want to thank everybody that participated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Justin Deesberg. I live at 645 McMunn Street here in South Lyon, and my backyard butts up to the new water tank that's being put over the parking lot was. And I spoke with someone who was working on the site, and so they hadn't decided what kind of fence was going to go behind my backyard, because right now it's only a 4-foot rusty fence, and obviously it has to be something different. And I definitely don't want barbed wire like is along Dorothy Street, because I have 3 young children, and I don't want it to look like they're playing in a prison yard. I know the water tank on Mill Street, they put up like an 8-foot black fence. I'd hopefully something minimally like that, but maybe something with more privacy, that I can't see this tank. And I also would like to know what kind of trees are going in. I don't know if that's been decided yet, because from my backyard, all I see is this gigantic cement thing. So that's really all I have, is what kind of landscaping and fencing is going to go around it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jean Dendel. I live at 321 Hagedorn, right across from Bartlett Elementary. I want to know when they're going to fix Hagedorn, when something is going to be done about putting a stop sign on Hagedorn. It's a 25-mile-an-hour zone, and people are driving 50 miles an hour. I have seen kids almost get hit because they come out of the path and run across the street to their parents' cars or waiting. It's frightening. The other morning, parents are dropping the kids off. Somebody got ticked off, pulled up in our yard, hit the tree. It's ridiculous. Something has to be done. I find animals dead, in our yard because people have run them over. And I talked to Dan. I sent him an email 2 years ago, right before COVID, and obviously nothing happened during that time. I understand that. But the neighbors are just fed up. Is there something that we can do, to get it fixed, and when? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
is it possible to let them know that the city manager can address some of that, or why
Point
we
of
can't
information.
answer back?
Point of information is the proper way to bring it up. Do you have a point of information?
Yes, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to know if if we could explain why we can't answer back during council comment, or during public comment, and how that can be addressed.
Do you want me to take the lead on that?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So, well, it's usually just it's mostly because we don't want to get sidetracked on
Right.
the city business tonight. Now, each council member will have an opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting, as well as the city manager during the city manager's report. And that's kind of why we do that. So if you don't stick to that, things can get a little bit out of hand sometimes. So I can assure you, someone will be getting in touch with you. All right, we good? All right. We'll close our public comment for this evening, and we'll move on to the discussion of downtown.
The DDA Director, Economic Development Director, Nate Mack, is not here today, but I'll try to go over some of the items that were considered and discussed within his report. We have received the official grant award letter from Oakland County Parks and Recreation. That is a $100,000 grant that we're getting for the development of the park that's located on McCaddy and South Lafayette Street, right next to Heinen Engineering, that open space there. We'll be working on the design for that. We have 3 years in which to spend the money to develop and to build that park. The downtown business and property owner monthly meetings are set to resume on May 26th at the corner social. Other than Main Street Oakland County is hosting their main event on Thursday, May 5th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you're interested in attending, please contact Nate and we will sign you up for that event. And the last item was Ladies Night Out will be taking place in downtown on Friday. That's next Friday, May 6th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I'll try to answer any of the questions that people may have or address them to Nate so we can get them answered for you.
Anyone have anything for Paul tonight in place of Nate for DDA or downtown? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the fire chief report.
Good evening. So currently the fire department's around 322 runs as of noon today. We are in the process of reviewing the software that the fire department currently uses for going through demos, to make sure we're the most up to date. with our technology. And then more important for me is that it needs to be reports and then more accurately and efficiently. So if we can swap out softwares and save roughly the same ballpark as far as cost and get a better service, is kind of what we're looking for. I know in my report I put that HVA is having staffing difficulties, pretty common with private EMS right now, and public safety to be honest, but particularly in private EMS, it has affected the response times a little bit. Fire department's still responding, we're getting there first, we're just waiting a long time at times for HVA to show up, so we're looking at alternatives. We're in a contract for another year with HVA. They just, like they were ducks in a row, so we're looking at other companies and possibly communities in the surrounding area. So it's kind of up in the air right now. Excuse me. And then also, we, a few council meetings ago, you asked about hydrants in our apartment complexes. I did look into that. We have a couple that are privately owned. They have to hire an independent contractor to come out and certify to test their hydrants and pump them, and then they send those certified results to the fire department. So it does meet NFPA standards. It's not just some person from the company out there doing it or the fire department.
That's what the ordinance says, yeah. Were you aware of that coming in?
What's that? The hydrants?
That ordinance?
No, actually I was
Okay.
not. Where I was from, where I came from, we did not have it in the apartment complexes. We did have it in major industries, but the industries had their own people who were certified to do it.
Anyone else have anything for Chief? Thank you. Move on to the police chief report. We've got Lieutenant Baki filling in tonight for Chief Sovic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Just got a few things to touch on tonight. We did get our generator installed. It's tested and it's working properly. We also got our sharps container, and a big shout out to the South Lyon Community Coalition to help facilitate it. It is mounted, and we are now taking used or unwanted needles that can go in that container, which is a good thing. We are participating in the DEA take-back, so prescription drugs that are no longer in use can be brought to our station Saturday, April 30th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And then if you have any used needles that you wish to get rid of, you can go ahead and put it in the sharps container as well. We are preparing for a mock assessment on May 4th. That's when some assessors will come in and they'll look at go through all of our policies, start looking at our facilities, make sure that we meet the standards, and then it gives us some time to correct or fix anything we need to actually go through the real assessment. That'll hopefully be in about 3 or 4 months after that. That's our plan. Our administrative assistant, Brianne, is leaving. She's going to be going to MSP, working with them. And we are now searching for another replacement for her, and the applications are online. They're on the website, on the city website, and also on the Facebook. And we're also looking for cadets. We have one right now, and we're down one, so we're trying to find another cadet. So again, everybody who's interested, go online, city website, and also on our Facebook page. And one more thing, we're now starting to deploy our speed monitor devices. We have one out right now. We're going to be getting the other one up and running soon, so we'll start putting them around the city. I encourage citizens that have issues with speeding to let us know, and we'll go and deploy them out. And we usually keep them up for about 2 weeks. That's how long the batteries last, and we have to bring them in, recharge them, and download all the information from them. So they're a pretty effective tool. People like to see them in their subdivisions. So, and anybody interested in having them on their road, just let us know, and we'll go ahead and deploy them. That's all I got.
All right. Councilmember Kibble, go ahead.
I really do think that's educational to have those speedometers out there, because a lot of people, they're hypersensitive to the notion of the cars going by, especially people with small children. So the notion of having somebody going 10 miles over the speed limit is bad enough, but then they kind of, this gives them a real number of what's really going on rather than whatever their perception might end up being. because my wife would typically say they're doing 50 and, they weren't. And so, but I understood where she was coming from. It was still in excess of the speed limit. So, but it gives them a better understanding that it's not lunatic speed. So
These are very effective as far as they give us averages of speeds during certain times of the day, rush hour time, at night, how many cars go through at particular times. So we can set them up to do different things at different speeds based on the speed limit. They'll flash at it. If you go 5 mile an hour, they'll start flashing or blinking to warn the driver to, watch their speed. So they are effective, and it lets us know where our problems are at. And now, some
do
people
you guys
use
put that data on your site?
I think we have in the past.
Okay, because I think that would be helpful too.
We have in the past, like I said, we just started getting them back and running right now. They're in storage for a while. The batteries, they last only so long. So now after a season of them not being used, now that the warmer weather coming out, we want to, use them through the spring and summer. We just want to make sure that they're up and running properly. I know that we have 2 of them, one on a cart and one that we can mount. But we use them as just a good point of reference of where we need to go ahead and focus our attention. And people do letting everybody know that we get some of those people that think they want to see how fast they can go.
Sure.
And it shuts down at a certain speed limit, so you'll never know, but it still records that speed. So that's another thing that we have with them as well. So they are very effective and give us a great idea as far as what the speeds are. So if there's an issue.
Councilor Kennedy, go ahead.
So Doug, I know that we have officers over at the high school at the beginning of the day, the end of the day. They're there monitoring what goes on. We obviously have the SRO over at the middle schools. Do we have officers at the elementary schools such as Bartlett that monitor the traffic? Because obviously, and it isn't just here in the city. I mean, obviously it's the elementary schools wherever with the volume of traffic that's dropping off and picking up. Do we have an officer looking at the elementary schools?
Correct. Yes. We do have, we have them dedicated at the 2 middle schools right now. And our road officers are trying to go to the elementary schools. If they're not on call, they'll go ahead and do that. They're going to be there at the beginning of the school. But yes, it does get backed up there. We talk to school administrators. I've talked to school administrators to try to alleviate the traffic. I think Bartlett does a pretty good job of what they're dealing with when people come in, especially with the COVID. They have issues with busing as well, so now you have a lot more parents that are now going in, dropping their kids off, and now we have a problem, right? Now we have a backup. And it lasts probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and it goes away pretty quick. But we do have officers that are there. I think at times we've had to help with traffic. And they say, well, why don't we go out and start directing? Well, there's nowhere to direct. We can't do nothing anyway, so it usually alleviates itself. And we try to do our best and I've also spoke with, like I said, administrators at the school saying, hey, you might want to do this. You might want to have 1 drop-off point instead of 3. So just to try to make it more streamlined so they know how to get these people in and out as quickly as possible, especially in that age where the kids are kind of jumping around, or they're all worried, the parents are worried. So yes, it can be problematic at times, but it usually alleviates itself pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else have anything for Lieutenant Bakke tonight? Councilmember Dobe?
Thank you. I just wondered if you could maybe talk with the residents at Hagedorn and see if one of the speed limit things could be.
Absolutely. We actually had when we first got them, I think our first time was putting it out on Hagedorn.
Okay.
I think there was a 25-mile-an-hour sign that we placed it on. I think it was going south. And we more than happy can put it back up there, and we'll do that. That's not a problem. We'll go ahead and deploy that there.
Thank you.
Councilmember
Just
Kimball, go
one
ahead.
quick one. Is there a crossing sign at the outlet from Bartlett there that puts out on?
Yeah, there's you're talking as far as coming onto Whipple?
No, on the Hagedorn through the playground area. Where the soccer fields and things are.
That's a good question. I have to take a look. I don't know offhand.
Because, it does dump out onto the sidewalk, and it might end up making sense to have a crossing. I know that the other side doesn't have anything to receive it, but kids are going to go across the streets sooner or later anyway.
Yeah, I know that, there's a crossing guard there at the corner, and then I do crossing guards sometimes. I didn't do it the other day. No big deal, but those were
They do it at Hagedorn?
No, not at
Oh, okay.
10 Mile. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, not there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Lieutenant. Appreciate it. Move on to unfinished business this evening. Approval resolution submitting street improvements bond proposal.
As part of our long-term plan to improve public roads within the community, the city is looking at issuing almost $20 million in road improvements over the next 10 years. Tonight, because of the conditions of those roads, the city is proposing to issue bonds to help pay for those improvements. The attached resolution will need to be approved and submit the bond proposal. The purpose of the resolution is to submit a bond proposal for consideration for approval by the voters at the August election. If approved, it will allow the city to authorize the issuance of bonds to pay for the cost of those street improvements. I've attached information, which is the bond information, the resolution submitting street improvement bond proposal, including Exhibit A, the street improvement bond proposal, and a breakdown of the bond information for each bond issuance, and the ballot proposal, which will go before the voters on August 2nd, 2022. Tonight, possible course of action is approve or not approve the attached resolution submitting street improvement bond proposal, including the ballot language and Exhibit A. We have representatives here from our bond counsel and our financial consultant to answer any questions you may have regarding this proposal.
Councilmember Kibble, go ahead.
Actually, I'd like to ask Mrs. Hamami, on page 8, it says, well, I'm wondering, do we already have a survey of the resolutions or parts of resolutions that might be repealed and would need to be modified?
That's standard language in all resolutions. Just
Okay.
as a precaution. I don't think that there's any known resolutions that are being repealed.
Okay, all right, thank you. I was concerned about the cost of what that modification might be.
You should see that language in every resolution.
Oh, that's funny, yeah. I've been here a long time and I've never seen that show up, so, all right, thanks.
Councilmember Kibble?
Well, I'd like to make the motion, let's see, to approve the attached resolution submitting street improvement bond proposal, including the ballot language, including Exhibit A.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kibble, supported by Councilmember Kennedy. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Dill?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Kibble?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Ozer?
Yes.
Kurtzoff?
Yes.
Belchat?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This information will now be submitted to the county and with the state for approval for the ballot language. We'll be working with the committee as well as our engineers to develop the plan for the roads that will be improved, as well as the public education regarding the project so the public understands regarding the millage rates, what millages get add on, why there's an average, and to discuss all those roads that will be improved. So we'll be having public informational meetings that will be begin this summer, so you'll actually be able to see the roads and the projects and some of the other things. And if you come into City Hall now, you can actually see some of the pavement cores that we did on several streets, what some of the streets look like and what a road should really look like if it's done correctly.
Thank you for that, City Manager Zelnick. We'll move on to new business this evening. Tennis court restoration project at Columbia Park to include addition of pickleball to all 3 courts.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. Columbia Park tennis courts are in need of renovation. 3 courts will need prep filling and restoration prior to resurfacing. I reached out to multiple companies to obtain quotes. 2 bids have been submitted. Due to the very few responses, I was only able to get one contractor to be able to perform this task this year. I then also advertised this project on Mitten. This advertisement closed as of 25th of March with no submittals. Laser striping and sports surfacing has submitted a bid, and they are able to complete this work this calendar year. The only other quote for this was by Goddard Coatings, and that's for $37,500 to resurface and did not include the nets and the posts, which would not be touched. The laser striping company has offered to refurbish all 3 courts and upgrade them to pickleball courts with the inclusion of nets and posts for $36,500. My recommendation is to award the contract to refurbish the courts at Columbia Park to laser stripe and sport surfacing for the amount of $39,500. And for that confusion there, if you look at the quote, you'll see our fire department, DPW, can actually show up at the courts, take out the posts, they can do the concrete work, set the new sleeves, and make it happen.
Cool.
To improve the nets, obviously. And then they'll do all the resurfacing to actually put the ball. I actually included some of their work. The color photos came out pretty good there. These guys do pretty good work. Yeah, quite the recommendation.
Councilmember Kivler, do you want to get us started here?
Well, are you guys going to be putting the post in first, or will they do?
It would be after.
Really? Hill core after?
I would think after, yes. I'm not sure. I've never done tennis court restoration, so I'm going to work with laser.
It'd be easier for them to pave, but it might be destructive.
I would think the crack filling from jobs that I've seen, I think the crack filling will happen first. They put their special material in there and you can still use the courts. Then they coat it with like one color surface, so there'll be a time when there might not be lines on the courts, and then they'll resurface it with this other material that'll make it look state of the art.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Hanson.
Question for you in regards to the, I guess, renovation and refurbishing of the courts. What was their opinion as far as the level of the courts? Did they feel that there was any need for lifting and leveling? And
yes, I asked that question as well to more than one contractor, but was able to make a couple out there. Most have said, and including these guys, these aren't that bad. Okay. These are in really good shape. We've done a lot worse. So I was happy to hear that.
Yeah, my experience has always been just, one, right around the crack, usually there's some real issues as far as unevenness and having to either like sand it down and then level it out, or so. Okay.
I think we're in good shape. I mean, good shape if you look at the courts, but I think we're going to be all right.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And Councilmember Kennedy, excuse me. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the purchase and installation of services by laser striping and sports surfacing to restore 3 tennis courts at Columbia Park for $39,500 under line item 101.690-978.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Hanson. Do you have any further discussion?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I would just say that once the renovations are done, that we fully put this out to the public so that they're aware of these renovations and make sure that they're aware of the location so that these renovations are really taken advantage of and that folks know that we're investing in the parks and improving upon them.
Yep. I think our friends at Solera must have a demand for this as well, and so they do a fantastic job of getting that type of stuff out there. And I would imagine if we're able to produce new pickleball courts, that they'll be full. So
they will come, right?
yes, here we go. I think that's the second Field of Dreams reference I've heard today. So, but no, that's great. So we do have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Hanson. If no one else has anything to add, I will ask that City Clerk Deaton lead us in a roll call vote, please.
Moser?
Yes.
Kurtloff?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Kibble? Yes. Hanson?
Yes.
Guild?
Yes.
Pelchat?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
On a separate topic, Doug, in response to the resident that was talking about the perimeter by the water plant, I know that you have some plans for the fencing in that area. Regarding trees and that, it could be a little tough to probably plant 30 or 40-foot trees to cover up the tank. Might be there in another 40 years or something, but do you want to talk a little bit about what the plan actually looks like right now? I know it's still tentative.
Everything's kind of tentative at this point. I just spoke to the city manager. We are considering arborvitaes possibly as an option. There's going to be some tree replacement, we hope, for some of the trees that were taken. There's in the contractor's language that if they take a tree, they have to put a tree at least half that size, basically. So we're kind of contesting that, making that happen. Hopefully we'll see what happens and then go from there. But the fence itself, obviously, that's not going to stay the way it is. It's going to be improved to some extent. Hopefully matching some of the perimeter of the fence that's around.
without the concertina wire and